Hey, this is Andrew from DCDR, and I just wanted to say a very quick thank you for trying the app. I hope that you find it makes your risk assessments, your incident reporting, and probably more importantly, the decision making that comes from all of that faster and more straightforward. Before you jump into the app, I'd suggest you watch the following video. It takes about 5 minutes. It'll explain how everything works and show you around the application. And once you've watched that, then just jump right in. You can always find this video again and some other frequently asked questions in the user's guide, which you can reach from the top menu. And if none of that helps, or if you have any questions or suggestions, just reach out to me at chat@decydr.io and let me know what you think. Thanks again for trying it, and I hope you like the app. Welcome to a quick introductory video to show you around the DCDR app, to help familiarize yourself with the main features of the application and show you how to get started. We'll look at all the main components and elements of the app here, but be aware the exact configuration and layout may be different depending upon how your particular version of the app has been set up and customized. So once you log in, you're going to come to the dashboard. Be aware that when you first come into the app, it may look like this because, of course, you haven't put any data in yet. So the dashboard will look empty. But once you've been working in here for a while, you'll see that there's some of the data shown in the reports. And we'll come back to this in a moment. But from the dashboard across the top, you can see you can always return to the dashboard using this tab here. And then, as I said, the exact layout of the buttons may be different, but you have the option here to add or manage your assessments, to report or view your risks. In this version, we have incident reporting, and then there's also a quick tab to get into the locations in the database for all the locations in the system. Let's just say that we're going to start with an assessment. From the assessment sheet, we're going to select our organization here as a test company. We're going to say that's the operations department. I'm going to choose North America, and you'll see immediately that the assessment title is automatically populated. You can choose your own title here if you would like, but all this does is speed up the process, and it gives you a way to track back and just confirm what the assessment was for. But as I said, you can certainly change that if you'd like. The assessment owner, put myself down as the owner, and the status is open because we're obviously still working in this. And the two things you can see underneath, you can either go straight in here and add a risk, or you will also see a list of threats that have been added because we have some data in this system already. Again, if you're just beginning, none of this will be populated. We're not going to do any more work here. We're just going to submit this. And now that actually takes us straight through to report a risk, with the assumption being that once you've begun the assessment, you want to add some risks to that. So straight away, you'll see the organization is complete, as is the assessment name. This is the name that we just put in there. You can see that's the date of today. One other thing just to note, if you had gone straight into the risks tab, and you wanted to create an assessment, you can always add a new assessment from here, and it will give you a pop-up menu. This is exactly the same information that we had on the previous screen under assessment, but you can create the assessment while you're reporting the risk itself. We're not going to do that right now. So very quickly, we're just going to use the system here to add a threat name. We're going to add a new threat name and say that this is for dust storms. We'll put this down as environmental. And then all we're going to do is use the drop downs and the description boxes to complete the assessment. Each of the ratings, whether it be threat, vulnerability, or impact, gives you the same options, from negligible being the lowest to critical being the highest, and select which of those you think is the most appropriate. In this particular instance, actually, it's a fairly low concern. And then you can add the descriptions, which are particularly helpful if you have to share this with someone else so they can see why you may have come to that rating. And if you have to go back and review something later, it's useful to have a snapshot of what the situation was then. So once that's complete, you'll see that the risk description, the overall risk description, has been automatically completed. And the final option you have here is to say whether the risk is open or closed. In this case, we've just begun to assess this risk. It still exists, so we leave this open. However, at a later date, the risk manager may want to come back and say that risk is closed and no longer valid. Once you're done, you can just press submit. And then you can continue to add risks here as you would like. From the same tab, you can then go and look at all risks. And let's try and let's find the assessment we just completed today for North America operations. I've just noticed there's a typo there, so I'm going to go back here. There we go. So from this page, you can see a list of all of the risks, and you can also change the view to a summary view, which I personally prefer as a really simple way to read through all of this in quite an accessible way. So once you've got some information in the system, your dashboard will have reports like these. The actual reports shown will depend upon what you've requested for customization. In this case, we've got the priority risks that we're most concerned about. These are the threats that we're monitoring that we believe would possibly have the greatest impact on a test company. We've then got a breakdown here of the risk composition, and in the bottom we've got a small graph here showing the risks by threat category. So again, depending upon the configuration you have, depending upon what you've requested for the reports, the dashboard will look slightly different, but that's the kind of thing that you can see here on the dashboard once you've actually begun to use the assessment.